One verse today serves as our text, 1 John chapter 4, verse 16. But what a one verse it is. And we have known and believed the love that God has for us. Now, how do we know that? And why do we believe that? Because of the next three words. God is love. And he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him. And may the God who is love bless the reading of his word today. The pastor's sermon that day was unusually long and unusually boring. So when the congregation filed out past him, they didn't have a lot to say to him. But one member did stop and speak to the pastor for a moment, and he said, "Pastor, your sermon today reminded me of the peace and love of God." And the pastor took that for a compliment, and he said, "Why, thank you. Thank you very much. But tell me, why did my message remind you of all that?" And the member said, "Well, it reminded me of his peace because it passed all understanding. And it reminded me of his love because it endured forever." So much for a compliment. Well, as I preach to you today, I hope my message about God's love will not be unusually long or boring. In our verse, John tells us that God is love. Down through the ages, volumes and volumes of words have been written about just those three words, about what they mean, what they entail, what they involve and include, what they tell us about God and his love. Well, today, let me give you 6 qualities, not 6 volumes, but 6 qualities about the love of God. First of all, God is love means that his love is immediate. Question for you. When did God start loving you? When did he first begin to love you? Was it when you left the tummy of your mommy? Nope. Was it when you were conceived, about 9 months or so before that? Nope. Was it back whenever your parents were thinking about and talking about having you one day? Nope. Well, when did God start loving you? Friend, he didn't. God never started loving you because he's always loved you. That was a trick question, wasn't it? God has always loved you. Before he ever made Adam and Eve, he already loved you. Before he made the first star, the first mountain, the first valley, the first tree, the first bird, the first bug, the first anything, God already loved you. So how long has God loved you? As long as God has existed. There has never been a moment when you were not loved by God. And how is this possible? Because God is love. Second of all, God is love means that his love is impeccable. That is, his love is always pure and perfect, always spotless and stainless, always faultless and flawless. This, of course, is not true of our love. Our love, like everything else about us, leaves a lot to be desired. Our love gets spotted and stained. Our love has blemishes and warts. Our love has defects and defaults. Our love is not always true and trusted, but not his love. His love is impeccable and immaculate. And how is this so? because God is love. Thirdly, God is love means that his love is immeasurable. Now, we can measure most things in life, be it inches, feet, yards, miles. We can measure that. Be it seconds, minutes, years, decades, centuries, we can measure that. Be it grams, ounces, pounds, tons, we can measure that. Be it pennies, nickels, quarters, dimes, so forth, we can measure that. We can measure a lot of stuff. But how in the world do you measure the love of God? You can't. You don't. There is no tape measure, no yardstick, no scale, no clock, no adding machine, no computer that can measure his love. His love is just too heavy. It's too deep. It's too wide. It's too long for us to measure. God's love has no measurements to it, no bounds or boundaries, be it size or shape, height or depth, time or weight. And why is this so? Because God is love, and God cannot be measured by puny, pitiful little man. And then God is love means that his love is immutable. That is, the love of God never changes, never differs, never fluctuates. God doesn't love more at one time and less at another time. His love is never ascending or descending, never rising, never falling, never hot, never cold, never warm, never cool, never on, never off, never in, never out. God's love is a flat line, straight line love, always on the same level and plane. Our love, of course, is like a yo-yo, like a roller coaster, a seesaw, up and down, up and down, up and down. But not the love of God. There is no thing, there is no one, there is no event or circumstance that can ever cause his love to change one bit or one iota. And how is this possible? Because God is love, and God does not change. Fourthly, God is love means that his love is impartial. God loves everyone, and he loves everyone with the same amount of love. He loves all of us the same, no matter the color of our skin and no matter what our last name might be. He loves all of us the same, no matter if we can speak 4 languages or if we can't read or write. He loves all of us the same, no matter how full or empty our pocketbook may be. He loves all of us the same, no matter who we vote for or who we vote against. He loves all of us the same, no matter our age or gender. He loves all of us the same, be we naughty or nice, tacky or tactful, sad, glad, mad, or bad. Now get this. God even loves those of you who are not Cardinal fans just as much as he loves us who are Cardinal fans. Now that's amazing, folks. But we're talking about the love of God. Seriously, we love different people in different ways, don't we? I love every one of you, but I don't love any of you like I love my wife. And you don't either. And we shouldn't. That's not natural. That's not normal. But my point is, this is not the way it is with his love. For he does love every one of us with the same amount of love. And how does he do it? How is this possible? Because he is love. And then last but not least, God is love means that his love is immortal. Now we've already noted that God's love has no beginning, has no starting point. But does his love have an ending? does it have a stopping point? Does His love have a conclusion, a last page, a last paragraph, a last sentence, a last word? Is there an expiration date to His love? Does His love ever run out or run dry? No, thank God, no. No. God will keep on loving us just as long as God exists. God does not, God will not, and God cannot ever stop loving us. Sadly, this is not true of our love, for our love disappears and vanishes. But His love, it's endless, it's eternal, it's everlasting. His love is constant and continuous, unending and unstoppable, infinite and immortal. His love has no period or question mark to it. His love doesn't even have a comma or a semicolon to it. His love has no punctuation mark to it. For His love has no pause, no break, no lapse, and no end. And how is this possible? Because God is love, and God is immortal. Back in 1969, Hollywood came out with a movie called The Love God. It was a comedy starring, of all people, Don Knotts, better known as Barney Fife. And in the movie, Don, or Barney, played a swinging playboy type of love god. And the movie opened up with Don, or Barney, saying in his high, squeaky voice, "Me? I love God?" That's my Barney imitation. And then throughout the rest of the movie, it was one laugh after another. But folks, I'm happy to tell you, there is a love God. One. And He's our God. He's our love God. And this morning, if you never have, I urge you and I invite you to come to this love God through His loved Son, Jesus Christ. And if you'll do that, you will have and know a love that's one of a kind. A love that is unique. A love with which no one else can love you. I give you the love God, the God who is love.